The former president in Mar-a-Lago. Now his defense will come, of course, later in the trial. I do want to bring in Jonathan Karl, our chief Washington correspondent tonight. And John, so many of those images we hadn't seen before. And of course, the video of former Vice President Mike Pence, an ardent supporter of former President Trump for 4 years, so loyal to the president, then seen escorted from the chamber, whisked to safety, his life in danger. And we reported at the time here that there was no call from the president to check in on the well-being of his vice president.
David, this was damning on so many levels. It was especially jarring to hear those bloodthirsty chants for Mike Pence's life and to know how close that mob, to see how close that mob came to getting to him. And consider this, while Pence was locked in a room just outside the Senate chamber, and as that mob was closing in, Donald Trump took to Twitter to attack Pence for not having courage, for not having the courage to overturn the election. And we now know that just 2 minutes after that tweet from Donald Trump, it was when Pence was rushed out to safety and the mob was closing in. And you're right, we reported earlier that Donald Trump didn't bother to call to check in on Mike Pence during that day. In fact, David, it was several days later before he even spoke to his vice president.
All right, John Karl, on that part of the story tonight. John, thank you. And of course, the riders you saw in all those new images released today, the arrests across this country. I want to bring in Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice correspondent, on this part of the story tonight. And Pierre, as we go back to that video, those images, the body camera video, officers under attack, overwhelmed. The House managers, Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, making the case that among those in the crowd were members of violent extremist groups, Proud Boys and others. And Pierre, what are you learning about those groups involved in this and the arrests tonight?
David, the video and the audio are chilling. Hearing the concern in the voice of the officers and seeing the fury and the violence they face so compelling. I'll never forget the look in the eye of the D.C. police officer who told me that as he was being beaten by that mob, some were yelling, "Shoot him with his own gun." They played a portion of our interview today during the Senate trial, and we now know that among those in the crowd were Proud Boys, militia members, QAnon conspiracy believers, and others. And David, some of them have been accused of planning to attack beforehand. Nearly a dozen ex-members of the military have been arrested, along with several police and even an attorney. As one source put it, it was a large and broad group. 400 suspects identified, David, with the potential for hundreds more.
Pierre Thomas, Rachel Scott, John Karl, our entire team on this day 2 of the trial. Our thanks to you all.